My name is Mariel Caballero, and I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. This meeting is being held via Zoom conference call due to the COVID-19 crisis. Members of the public may participate by following the instructions listed on the agenda. You may also view and listen to the meeting on live stream cable TV, Granicus, and YouTube. If you would like to provide public comment, you have two methods to provide public comment. All members of the public will remain on mute until the individual identifies they would like to speak and you are unmuted. Following roll call during summary of hearing procedures, we will review how the public may provide comment during today's session. As a reminder to our planning commissioners, please keep yourself on mute unless you've been identified to speak. That way we can limit the background noise that we get during the meeting. So at this time, I'm going to do a roll call of our commissioners. So Mariel Caballero is here. Rolando Bonilla. George Casey.
Here.
Jorge Garcia.
Here.
Justin Lardinois.
Here.
Here, Luigi Oliverio. And Deborah Torrance.
Here.
Staff, I've been notified that Vice Chair Bonilla is in the attendees and needs to be moved, and he's under Valair Strategic Advisors. He needs to be made a panelist, please. And he is here. Thank you.
Here.
Okay. All right. The summary, the procedure for this hearing is as follows. After the staff report, applicants and appellants may make a 5-minute presentation. City staff will call out the names of the public who identified the items they want to speak on. You may identify yourself by raising the hand feature in Zoom or clicking *9 on your phone. You may also call 408-535-3505. Again, that's 408-535-3505, or email planningsupportstaff@sanjoseca.gov. And identify your name, phone number, and what items you would like to speak on. As your name is called, city staff will unmute you to speak. After we confirm that your audio is working, your allotted time will begin. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Speakers using a translator will have 4 minutes. After public testimony, the applicant and appellant may make closing remarks for an additional 5 minutes each. Planning commissioners may ask questions of the speakers. Response to commissioners' questions will not reduce the speaker's time allowance. Staff will unmute the speaker to respond to the commissioner. The public hearing will then be closed and the Planning Commission will take action on the item. The Planning Commission may request staff to respond to public testimony, ask staff questions, or discuss the item. If you challenge these land use decisions in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. The Planning Commission's actions on rezonings, pre-zonings, and general plan amendments and code amendments is only advisory to the City Council. The City Council will hold public hearings on these items. Section 20.120.400 of the Municipal Code provides the procedures for legal protests to the City Council on rezonings and pre-zonings. The Planning Commission's action on conditional use permits is appealable to the City Council in accordance with 20.100.220 of the Municipal Code. So I call this meeting to order of the Planning Commission. We have a quorum. Item number 2 is we have public comment. And as a reminder to both commissioners and to the public, the Planning Commission cannot take action on any items that are brought forward related to public comment and can only ask clarifying questions of staff. So staff, do we have any speakers for public comment?
I believe we do. We have caller ending in 140. Oops, sorry. Okay, caller ending in 140. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak. caller ending in 140. Please state your name for the record and unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Taxpayer is my name. That's my name. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, taxpayer.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, zoning, rezone. It's how long does it take for the city to actually let people have beer tents or tents outside their restaurant and bars? You guys should have been doing cafe al fresco a long time ago. But man, it took forever to allow people to actually do that for their business to help generate some tax revenue that we're going to need. As for the downtown, take a look at it. Look at it. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. Everybody who's involved in the city government for that downtown, it's a travesty. It's a joke. I don't know. I mean, you're going to try to build something at St. James Park and all the homeless bums who are defecating everywhere. This I got to see. You guys need to have the urban villages are a joke. They're too small. They're gonna farm out. They're gonna have hotels. Who's gonna come to this town? Who wants to come to San Jose? I wouldn't want to. I live here. I don't want to be here. So yeah, the city really needs to do better planning. You need to have a good idea for downtown. I don't think building the thing at St. James Park is gonna do any good. You guys need to go in a different direction. A direction I don't quite know. But you have to fix what you have already. Trying to build more or rezone, it's not going to do anything. There's so many vacant properties already right now. Disgusting. I don't know what you guys are doing, but you guys have to do something better than that. What's the big rezoning is what? Trying to cram more homes into the suburbs by tearing them down. You guys need to get a new direction at County City Hall.
Okay. Our next, I believe, is Alex. Alex, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak. Hi, Alex.
Mr. Siwak, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Why don't we go to the next speaker and then we can come back to Mr. Siwak.
Okay, next we have Shawnee. Shawnee, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners and Chair. My name is Shani Kleinhaus. I'm the environmental advocate for Santa Clara Valley Audubon Society. Our group protects and educates people about birds and their habitats in the open space, but also in urban areas. And we really are engaged in a lot of urban ecology issues. Some of those have to deal with urban development. And so I have spoken to you briefly before about the downtown design guidelines that include sections on bird safe design and vegetation. I wanted to give you a little update. I have been trying to work with staff on coming up with bird safe design guidelines that are and standards that are actually meaningful and will protect birds in the city. I can say it's been a bit of difficult work. I think there is goodwill, but there's a lot of pushback, seems like. And so right now we're in a situation where it's not finalized, but I may come back to you with requests for something that is a little more cohesive and actually protect birds in urban areas. Another issue that I think you might want to be aware of, and hopefully you are, is creek corridors in the city. the city has developed a policy to protect creek corridors. It's in the general plan, and there is a specific riparian corridor policy, but there are some projects moving ahead in the city that are respecting those very important protections that are provided for the creeks and the areas around them, and all the animals that use them, and even the trails along them. So I will be coming back to you and potentially sending him some educational materials, and I hope this will interest you and that you will pay attention. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next we have Alex. Alex, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak. Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners, for considering my comments. It's now 6 weeks from when we asked the planning department to explain why the plain reading of the state's high-quality transit corridor regulation did not apply to our project. The state had proposed this regulation for many years before it went into effect on January 2019. The city should have a written policy as to how this regulation interacts with the city's transportation policy, CP-1. We have not been provided a copy of such written policy. Southern California has an extensive policy related to high-quality transit corridor proximity, which we copied in our letter to the city. Interestingly, a month after the transportation policy went into effect, the city passed the density bonus ordinance and stated if a single residence occupancy unit was within half a mile of a high-quality transit corridor, no parking space would be required for that unit. Whereas if the single residence occupancy unit was outside the half-mile radius, a quarter of a parking space would be required per that unit in the density bonus ordinance. The city has a written policy relating high-quality transit proximity and parking. There should be one related to high-quality transit corridor and the transportation policy overall. Planning's comments after my 2-minute presentation last time stated that there are environmental issues with our project, and I'm baffled by that. As referenced and copied to you, several state agencies have cleared our site for residential development. We look forward to the city identifying what those specific environmental concerns are. The state agencies don't seem to appear to know any. Yes?
Sorry, your time is up. Thank you for your comment. At this time, it doesn't appear we have any more speakers.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 3, which is deferrals and removals from the calendar. 3A is CP-19-027, conditional use permit for a pawn shop use in approximately 3,300 gross square foot tenant space located in the existing shopping center on West King Road. This is being asked to be deferred. Do I have a motion to approve the deferral and removal from today's agenda? Oh, was that Commissioner Oliverio?
Yes, Chair.
Wonderful, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Bonilla. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Oh, Commissioner Lardner.
Yeah, I would just like to ask staff why it's why we're asking to defer. I don't have a problem with it. Just curious.
Hello, this is Rhonda Buss, the project planner on this file. Thank you very much, hearing officer and commission. For this project, we have been, as staff, asked to go back and do more research. So because of this, we are recommending that, that the project be dropped and re-noticed at a later date.
Thank you for clarifying.
Great. Do we have any additional discussion on this item? Seeing no hands from the rest of my commissioners, we'll go ahead and start with a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
And Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And I am also an aye. Staff, I believe that that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda, and thank you, Danielle. So item 3B is also a deferral for PDC 18-021 and PD 18-016, which is a planned development zoning from the general commercial to commercial pedestrian and R2 family resident zoning districts to a commercial pedestrian planned development zoning district for a planned development permit. And it looks like this is the request from staff is to be dropped and re-noticed for the October 28th Planning Commission meeting, which is our next meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion to defer?
Okay, so we'll go Vice Chair Bonilla on the motion and Commissioner Oliverio on the second on that one. And then Commissioner Lardinois, you have your hand up still. Is that for this item?
It is. I just wanted to ask, again, why is it being deferred? And then two, I just want to ask staff to confirm that that's the correct address, because I visited the site and it didn't seem like I was in the right place, but just wanted to ask.
Do we have Myra on the line? Or Sandra, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. No, cannot hear you now.
Oh, how about now?
There we go. Thanks, Cassandra.
Awesome. Sorry, I had my phone on mute. This is Cassandra Vandersleep representing Myra Blanca, the project manager for this case. We've requested to defer and renotice this to the October 28th Planning Commission to provide staff with more time to review and prepare the staff report. In terms of the address, I'm pulling it up real quick to confirm, but we'll ensure that our next agenda does have the correct one if this is not correct. One moment. The project address includes 1661, 1663, and 1665 Alum Rock Avenue. 1663 just being the kind of the selected representative one. So yes, the agenda is correct.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Great. And I forgot to see if we had any public speakers on either this item or item 3A, but I'm not seeing any hands up in the attendees. So I'm just going to give it a second before we move on to discussion and vote. Okay. Well, looks like Commissioner Oliverio's cat is paying us a visit. Do we have any discussion on this item, commissioners, other than the question from Commissioner Lardinois? Seeing no hands, let's go ahead and do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla?
Aye.
Commissioner Casey?
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia?
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois?
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio?
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens?
Aye.
And Chair Caballero is also an aye, and we'll hear this at the next meeting. So there are no items on number 4, the consent calendar. There is no item on number 5, which is a public hearing. So at this time, I'm going to open the general plan hearing. There's no items under number 7, which is the general plan consent calendar. So we'll move to the general plan public hearing. And we have, which is a general plan text amendment, GPT 20-002 and PP 20-012. For an update of the greenhouse gas reduction strategy, Appendix 8 of the Envision San Jose 2020 General Plan, consistent with Senate Bill 32, and which will revise policy IP-3.7 and remove. I'm not going to read the rest of that. So it looks like we have David on the line for a presentation.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. This is David Keon, Principal Planner with the city's Environmental Review Division. I'm just going to share my screen just real quickly, so bear with me. Hopefully that's visible to everybody.
It is.
So this is, thank you. So this is the 2030 Greenhouse Gas Reduction Strategy, an update to the previous Greenhouse Gas Reduction Strategy. So just a quick overview. Just a second. Maneuver it. So the purpose of the 2030 Greenhouse Gas Reduction Strategy is to update the city's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Strategy previously adopted with the Envision San Jose 2040 General Plan back in 2011. The primary reason for this is to allow tiering and streamlining of project-level greenhouse gas emissions analysis under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. It also provides a strategy to achieve statewide greenhouse gas reduction targets for 2030 as required by Senate Bill 32. It develops emission targets consistent with the state's adopted interim 2030 greenhouse gas emissions target, which is 40% below 1990 levels in 2030, with a goal of meeting the 2050 statewide target of 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. It identifies city policies, plans, and programs that contribute to greenhouse gas emissions reductions to reach the city's 2030s target, including those in the 2040 General Plan. Finally, it requires the preparation of a checklist for new development projects to demonstrate consistency with the city's greenhouse gas 2030 reduction target. So the previous greenhouse gas reduction strategy, as I said, was adopted as basically the Envision San Jose 2040 General Plan. It was an attachment, but essentially it is the document in the general plan. Emissions in that analysis were based on AB 32, which only took us to 2020. We are now in 2020. Those emissions reductions are no longer valid. And so therefore it needed to be updated and revised. So this document, just as a background, provided CEQA streamlining for development projects that were found to be consistent with the land use transportation diagram and the policies in the general plan. So projects going through the environmental review process in order to analyze GHG emissions, that they are consistent, they are considered to be consistent with the greenhouse gas reduction strategy in most cases. This requires them, this actually allows them not to have to do additional analysis in order to demonstrate conformance. However, with the adoption of Senate Bill 32, the greenhouse gas reduction strategy needs to be updated to meet 2030 targets. So in the interim, projects that are coming before you and probably seen in the past several months, projects with initial studies in EIRs requiring greenhouse gas emissions analysis have done an interim approach. This interim approach is a quantitative analysis based on what is referred to as the substantial progress efficiency threshold to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, consistent with SB 32. This is a very, much a calculation based on the amount of service population, which is the number of employees and the number of residents, and taking the emissions and dividing it. This is a useful way to analyze GHG emissions, but it's not the best way because it does not take into account the broader cumulative GHG emissions of the city and the region. And that the best approach to do that is through a larger plan, policy, and strategy, which this GHG reduction strategy seeks to do. It also is easier for projects to come through that maybe would be, just use the example, for example, hotel, which may have a low service population because the number of employees in the hotel are less, yet if that hotel is within an area with low VMT or next to a transit station, would actually have low GHG. So the interim approach can penalize certain types of projects, requiring additional mitigation measures. Most downtown projects, I will say, are covered by the updated greenhouse gas emissions analysis in the 2018 Downtown Strategy 2040 EIR. So we've already done a greenhouse gas emissions analysis for the maximum development that's anticipated in that EIR. Therefore, those projects already have CEQA clearance for GHG emissions in most cases. So what is the relationship to the general plan and Climate Smart San Jose? So the 2030 greenhouse gas reduction strategy is consistent with the major strategies and policies in the 2040 general plan. In fact, it builds upon those by essentially using those policies as a way to demonstrate greenhouse gas reduction. It also includes additional measures to achieve the plan's 2030 emissions target from recently adopted plans such as Climate Smart San Jose. It includes an updated emissions forecast prepared to align with the future build-out of the general plan. This includes taking into account the 2018 adoption of the city's vehicle miles traveled policy as a transportation metric, which is overall intended to reduce GHG emissions. Emissions reduction measures in the 2030 greenhouse gas reduction strategy are consistent with Climate Smart San Jose. However, it is important to note that Climate Smart San Jose is a visionary document. It is not a long-term planning tool the same way that Envision San Jose 2040 general plan is, or what this greenhouse gas reduction strategy will be. Again, I want to mention, in addition, this focus is for project level clearance of greenhouse gas emissions for environmental review. The greenhouse gas reduction strategy has 7 key strategies. One of them is San Jose Clean Energy. That is the recently launched program to provide renewable energy and greenhouse gas free energy to customers in San Jose. There's also zero net carbon residential development requirements, including the recent implementation of the REACH code and the prohibition on natural gas in new residential construction. There's also renewable energy development, existing building retrofits, zero waste goal, the Caltrain modernization project that's currently underway, and water conservation measures. The GHG reduction strategy, will, with implementation of these measures and strategies that have already been adopted by the city, which would actually meet the targets to meet the interim targets of 2030, consistent with SB 32. Now, how is this implemented? That's a key question many applicants and others will be asking. It's been implemented through the preparation of a compliance checklist for projects. Now, this project compliance checklist will be included in the initial studies and EIRs for projects seeking environmental clearance in the greenhouse gas section. In this, project applicants will come in, and as part of their CEQA analysis, we have to provide evidence in order to demonstrate compliance. This includes finding a consistency with the relevant general plan policies, including relevant TDM policies and the land use and transportation diagram. This is the same as what was required of the previous 2020 greenhouse gas reduction strategy. It also requires findings of consistency with the 7 strategies, and this is included in the compliance checklist. This is going to live in the greenhouse gas section of the initial study or EIR. And now I'm going to introduce Josh Letham with AECOM. He is going to talk about the structure of the 2030 greenhouse gas reduction strategy. Josh, can you get on? He's muted. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that overview, David. My name is Josh Lethan, and I'm the. Is there echo on your line? Sorry.
Let me see.
Can you hear me okay?
Fine. We
Yeah,
hear you fine.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm the 2030 GHGRS project manager at AECOM, and I'm going to spend a few minutes providing a little further detail on the technical aspects of the GHGRS. As a warning to everyone, I'm currently on paternity leave and pretty sleep deprived, so if I lose my train of thought, just bear with me. Thank you. As a quick orientation to the 2030 plan, the plan includes 5 chapters: an introduction, regulatory context about state and regional programs, community greenhouse gas emissions context information, the target and greenhouse gas reduction strategies, Chapter 4, which is a set of other supporting city and regional policies and programs, and a conclusion and restatement of the city's commitments. The plan also includes Attachment A, the development compliance checklist that David mentioned, and appendices A through C that provide further technical details. So with that overview, I'm going to highlight a few important items from the technical analysis. Next slide, please. So starting with the 2017 greenhouse gas inventory, the city's emissions totaled 5.7 million metric tons of CO2e or CO2e equivalent, as it's referred to, in 2017. So this figure shows the contribution by emission source category to help understand what is causing emissions in the community. The green bar on the top shows that transportation and mobile source emissions represented nearly 2/3 of total emissions, followed by the blue energy bar representing 31% of emissions. So this suggests that the most impactful greenhouse gas reduction strategies would be those that address these emission sources, since they represent nearly 95% of total emissions. The remaining emissions come from solid waste disposal and treatment, water and wastewater treatment, and finally, fugitive emissions associated with natural gas distribution losses. Next slide, please. And this slide is a bit small, but for some additional context, it shows the sub-sources of emissions within the broader categories. So as shown in the second line from the top, that first light green bar, emissions from on-road vehicles is the largest source of emissions in the city. The next largest sources are from residential energy and commercial energy, which are the first and second light blue bars. So again, this just serves to provide some additional insight into what greenhouse gas reduction strategies would be most impactful in San Jose. Next slide. And then to put the previous 2017 inventory slides into context, oops, sorry, that's supposed to be a hidden slide. Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
That's a little more context than we have time for. This slide shows the city's emissions trends since the city's first greenhouse gas inventory in 2008, along with the previous 2014 inventory. I want to note that the 3 inventories are not perfectly comparable due to changing approaches in methodologies over time, but the high-level results are accurate and do indicate that the city's emissions have been decreasing over time. So these bar chart pairs show total emissions in the left blue bars expressed as million metric tons of CO2e, while the right green bars normalize those results into an emissions per service population intensity or efficiency value. And that's where service population is defined as local residents plus employees. So as shown, the city's total emissions and emissions per service population have both been decreasing since 2008, which is a good sign. You can see instances where emissions per service population are decreasing, but total emissions are still increasing. So thankfully, that's not the situation in San Jose. Both emissions indicators are on a downward trend. Next slide. To then understand the amount of reductions needed, sorry, this is also extra. We can skip this one. Yeah. To understand the amount of reductions needed to achieve the 2030 target, we need to estimate how emissions could change in the future if no further action is taken. So this figure shows forecasts for 2030, which is the GHGRS target year and aligns with the state's SB 32 adopted greenhouse gas target year, as well as 2040 to align with the envisioned San Jose general plan horizon year. Each emission source was projected using a growth indicator that corresponds to how emissions in that source might grow. For example, residential energy was estimated based on population growth projections from the land use assumptions in Envision San Jose. Other growth indicators included employment growth, vehicle miles traveled, wastewater treatment plant influent projections, Caltrain ridership forecasts, etc. Emissions forecasts are never perfect, but the objective is to estimate what emissions could look like if no further action is taken. And revising these forecasts to refine future scenarios is an important part of future plan updates as well as new information becomes available. So as shown here, emissions are estimated to increase 7% from 2017 to 2030 and 18% from 2017 to 2040. Next slide. We then devised a 2030 greenhouse gas emissions target based on guidance for local governments provided by the California Air Resources Board in their 2017 scoping plan, as well as the Office of Planning and Research's general plan guidelines. And these guidance sources suggest that local governments should evaluate an emissions intensity or efficiency target that reflects local emission sources and demonstrates consistency with the state's adopted 2030 target. So following this guidance, we derived a local per service population target of 2.9 approximately metric tons CO2e per service population for 2030. Based on the city's demographic forecasts from Envision San Jose, that equates to total emissions of approximately 5.3 million metric tons per year. As a reminder, on the previous slide, I showed the city's 2030 forecasts are estimated to be 6.1 million metric tons, which means the city needs to reduce approximately 800,000 metric tons CO2e by 2030 as the result of additional greenhouse gas strategies. And as a note, the details on selecting this 2030 greenhouse gas target can be found in Appendix B. Next slide. The GHGRS then identifies 7 strategies that when implemented can provide the greenhouse gas reductions necessary to achieve the city's 2030 target. So the table shown here is from the plan, and it lists the strategies in the first column, estimates of their greenhouse gas reduction potential in the second column, and then demonstrates the strategies' origins in the third column. And as shown, these strategies come from the city's existing original green vision goals, the Climate Smart San Jose plan, from existing general plan goals, council resolutions, and in one instance, a state greenhouse gas policy. So this shows that the greenhouse gas strategies in the plan are really informed by the city's existing greenhouse gas reduction framework, and they don't represent new additional burdens on the city. We're simply estimating the impact of those existing commitments to show how they support 2030 greenhouse gas target achievement. And while Chapter 4 of the GHGRS provides a much longer list of general plan policies that will likely help reduce greenhouse gas emissions further in the future, this focus set here have been individually quantified to estimate their greenhouse gas reduction potential based on available information and their ability to be tracked reasonably easily for individual implementation progress to ensure that the city is on track to its 2030 target. On the previous slide, I mentioned the city needs approximately 800,000 metric tons of reductions to achieve the 2030 target. This set of strategies have been estimated to provide approximately 1.2 million metric tons CO2e reductions. So that provides a comfortable buffer for target achievement should any of these strategies fall short of their estimated implementation over the next 10 years. And as shown, the single largest source of reductions is likely to come from continued implementation of San Jose clean energy as it moves towards providing 100% carbon-free energy as its baseline offering. Next slide. David already showed this one earlier, but the full implementation of these strategies would result in emissions levels of 2.86 metric tons CO2e per service population compared to the target of 2.94. So they demonstrate target achievement in 2030 if they're implemented as shown. Next slide. As David mentioned, achievement of the greenhouse gas reductions I just showed will depend on plan implementation to reduce emissions in both existing and new development in the city. So Chapter 3 of the plan provides an implementation and monitoring framework to guide the city in plan implementation and tracking to ensure that the estimated greenhouse gas reductions are occurring as planned. Attachment A of the plan provides a development compliance checklist that can be used with new development projects that are subject to CEQA requirements. So these projects can use the checklist to demonstrate and document consistency with the 2030 GHGRS in order to receive streamlined environmental review as related to the proposed project's greenhouse gas emissions impact. All applicable projects would complete sections A and B of the checklist, and some may optionally complete section C. Section A allows the project to demonstrate consistency with the envisioned San Jose land use and circulation diagram and other relevant general plan policies. Since the GHGRS emissions analysis is based on emissions forecasts that are tied to the city growth assumptions in Envision San Jose for residents, jobs, and VMT, projects must demonstrate consistency with the general plan to show that the project's emissions were included as part of the GHGRS analysis. Section B then allows projects to document their consistency with the 7 GHGRS strategies as applicable, denote why certain strategies are not applicable to that proposed project, or suggest alternative greenhouse gas reduction strategies that would provide a comparable level of greenhouse gas emissions reductions. And then for those projects that do propose alternative greenhouse gas reduction strategies, Section C allows applicants to provide their own supporting information, rationale, and quantification to demonstrate how the new strategy is commensurate with the GHGRS strategy that it's replacing. The city cannot achieve its 2030 greenhouse gas target only with reductions from new development projects that are subject to CEQA. However, this development checklist allows projects to demonstrate that they are doing their fair share towards target achievement and provide CEQA streamlining incentive for those projects that are found to be consistent. With that, I'll turn it back to David.
Thank you, Josh. So I also wanted to bring to your attention, there were 2 letters that we received on the greenhouse gas reduction strategy. One was from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, received today, and another letter from Valley Water. Both of those letters were provided to you in your packet. None of these letters raise substantive issues. Valley Water is requesting some, basic text edits, and also requesting to see if there could be some additional measures for water conservation. None of these rise to levels of issues that would actually end up being requirements that would cause meaningful greenhouse gas reduction strategies. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District we are going to be providing them some additional data that they requested. And also they had some additional questions about data centers. Since data centers are one of many land uses that are covered, we do not want to have policies specifically to a specific land use type. Individual projects may end up having to do their own specific greenhouse gas emissions analysis in the future if they cannot comply with these, with the strategy. With this, I want to recommend to that Planning Commission to recommend to City Council that they adopt a resolution adopting the addendum to the Envision San Jose 2040 General Plan EIR and Supplemental EIR, and adopt a resolution approving the 2030 GHG reduction strategy and general plan text amendment. And I am available, and Josh is available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great. It looks like we have some public comment. So why don't we go to public comment before we do commissioner questions?
Okay, our first speaker is Taxpayer. Taxpayer, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak. Hi, Taxpayer, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to get rid of greenhouse gases. So we're going to run everything on electricity here. I don't see that happening. It doesn't work. I mean, the power goes out if it gets a little bit hot outside. And you're going to try to reduce greenhouse gases as you want to build all these coffin condos everywhere. You think there's going to be this high-speed rail that has completely died. It's dead. And this Google Village, are you really holding out for them to do a good job to build a village near a transit center? I mean, you're going to have to rethink the retail, the housing, offices, everything. People are working from home. People aren't going back to work probably ever. They're saying over half the tech workers are going to be working from home, which means they're going to probably be moving elsewhere, which means there'll probably be more available housing anyway. But I don't see that. I don't see how the greenhouse gas thing is a complete fallacy made up by Al Gore. Al Gore was going to use Enron. Remember that company that went out of business, bankrupt? He was going to trade the carbon credits with Ken Lay at Enron. It's a moneymaker scheme. They're trying to make money out of thin air, and they're doing a great job by brainwashing people like you who think that all this stuff is real. It is not. Greenhouse gases. How about fix the forest? How about take care of the forest so we don't have months and months and months of completely polluted air? I mean, talk about greenhouse gases. You have to manage the forest and the surrounding areas for fire.
20
I think
seconds.
you people are crazy. You people are crazy. This whole thing is a joke. It's a joke. And the Planning Commission, you guys need to rethink about what San Jose is going to be, because in post-COVID, it's going to be completely different.
Thank you, Taxpayer. Next, we have B. Beacom. Please, B. Beacom, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Hi, Beekman is my name. I hope you can have the patience for my inexperienced ideas and opinions for the next 2 minutes. Thank you. It's my personal feeling that, San Jose has tried really hard to address the issue of natural gas for the past few years, if not several years. We are now very much prepared how to address the future of fracking in the 2020s. We are not compromised by fracking, and there's difficult decisions fracking is going to have to go through in the next 10 years. San Jose is in a really good position to talk about natural gas, and that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for this report. I noticed that, did I see that renewables actually have more weight and carry and more output than carbon neutral ideas, which is nuclear basically? If that is the case, thank you. That's so important to understand for me. The next year, East Bay Local Community Energy is just starting to go through their process of how to, procure energy for next year. And they're really in a battle with the public to define the future of nuclear. You seem like you're using less nuclear, and that's important. We have to really continue that effort to slowly dwindle down the reliance of nuclear. And we put the pieces in play to do that. Now we got to work on that and act on that. And that takes effort and understanding. And I'm not that good at that, but at least I can, offer those ideas at this time. Yeah, and there's going to be a new wave of, thank you. There's going to be a new wave of nuclear that will be coming on in 5 to 10 years that we have to prepare for now and really ask it not to be around, I feel. So good luck in these renewable efforts, and go local energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a caller ending in 805. You are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak. Hi, caller ending in 805. You are unmuted. Caller 805, you are unmuted. I don't know if you want to move on. I don't have any other hands raised at this time. Maybe they're having some technical difficulties.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. We will go ahead and give staff an opportunity to respond if they want to make any response to public comment.
No response.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and move to commissioner questions. Commissioners, if you could raise your blue hand or just wave at me from your phones or from your screens. Do you have any questions for staff? Sorry about that, I was muted. Seeing no questions for staff, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And if we could get a motion related to this item.
So moved.
Second.
I heard the second by Commissioner Oliverio. I don't know who made the first. Sorry, I couldn't see everyone's faces.
Bonilla.
Bonilla.
Okay, wonderful. So a motion by Commissioner Bonilla, a second by Commissioner Oliverio. Do we have any discussion on this item? Would either of the motion makers like to speak to their motion?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and call the question, and we'll do a roll call vote. So, Commissioner Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Yes, aye.
Commissioner Torrance.
Aye.
And myself, I'm also an aye. And staff, if you want to go ahead and show the vote, I believe that was unanimous. Wonderful. So item 8A passes. So we will move to item number 9. Yes, which is referrals from City Council, Board, Commissions, and other agencies. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's item 10. There are no items. So item number 11, a report from City Council. Robert, do we have a report?
No, we don't. There was no council meeting yesterday.
Okay, wonderful. Do we have item number 11B is review and approve action minutes from the September 23rd meeting. Do we have any comments or changes to the minutes? It looks like we have a public speaker on items number 11. Do we want to go ahead and take that public speaker?
Sure. B. Beacon, you are unmuted. Please begin to speak.
Hi, to speak to your agenda of September and kind of just I needed to also include that San Jose needs to make its own decisions in the next few months about their own nuclear allotment for next year in terms of energy, and I hope we can just be considering what that can be and how to limit that as much as possible as an entire community effort to do that. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. It looks like we also have a public comment from a taxpayer.
Okay, taxpayer, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Yeah, I think we should go on 100% nuclear. I really do. It's the only way to have cheap, affordable power. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it, but in the end, I thought the power went out not too long ago on a hot day because the microgrid, the solar panel microgrid didn't work. Now, people want to have their own solar panels on their house. They can't. And by the way, they look ungodly. A lot of my neighbors have them, and I have to look at it. It looks like crap. But, what are you going to do? I can't tell my neighbor what to do. But if people want to create their own power with geothermal or solar at their own home, that's great. But, you're not going to you're not going to be able to power a city on renewable energy. It's completely asinine. They tried doing it in Europe. It didn't work. They thought they were going to get energy from the ocean and all these kind of crazy things. And they've got the solar thing flopped. I lived in Spain for like 8 years. Solar completely flopped there. Complete waste of money. Everybody hates the windmills because they chop up birds and make a shit ton of noise. Excuse me. Look at the windmills we have on Altamont Pass. Half of them are tipped over, not working. They're ugly. It's blight. Everybody hates it. Like I said, chops up birds. It's noisy. You can hear those windmills from like 60, 70 miles away. I think nuclear energy is the wave of the future. That's why France they have clean nuclear power there. I also believe in clean burning coal. It's a fallacy to think. Yeah, it's a fallacy to think that you're going to run a city on microgrids powered by solar. It's a fallacy. It's going to be a nightmare. Maybe I won't be around to see it, but remember, if those of you who are going to be alive during the hell of that whole thing, you'll remember what I said.
And this is a reminder to our public commenters that items that is for items that we're discussing at the moment, and that the previous items, and if you've spoken before, we won't be allowing that in the future. So do we have a motion for item number 11B, which is review and approve action minutes from 9/23?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliverio. Do we have a second? Commissioner Casey, thank you. Sorry, Vice Chair Bonilla, you were a little late on the draw that time. All right, so we have a motion and a second. And do we have any discussion on our panelists? I'm sorry, from our commissioners. Long day. All right, seeing no hands up from the commissioners, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
Thank you. And then I'm also an aye, and that motion passes unanimously. We are moving on to item subcommittee formation reports and outstanding business. I don't think we have any items, correct, Robert? Great. I'm seeing you shake your head. Item D is the review and approval of the commissioner calendar and study sessions. And we have 3 items in here, which is review and approve the 2021 Planning Commission meeting schedule, an announcement related to our Planning Commission annual retreat, which is scheduled for October 23rd from 12 to 3 p.m. via Zoom, and a study session scheduled for 10/28/2020, the 2020 General Plan Annual Review.
So we do have a retreat draft agenda to share with you.
Okay.
So it starts at 12 and ends at 3. We have remarks from Council Member Jimenez, who is our liaison, and then the housing policy. We'll take a break, and then our community outreach and engagement, after which we do the opportunity zones, and then a brownout update by our city attorney, and then we'll take public comments. Adjournment at 3 p.m.
Great. Do we have any questions or comments on the agenda for the annual retreat from our commissioners? Seeing no hands, do we have a motion to approve item D 1, 2, and 3?
So moved.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Casey. Oh, Commissioner Torrens, you have a question? Or you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Yeah. So do I need to raise my hand to motion or just unmute for that?
Just unmute for that. Thank you.
Okay. Got it. So I'll second that motion if it hasn't been seconded yet.
It has not. Thank you very much, Commissioner Torrens. Okay. And then, so do we have any discussion? Would anyone like to speak to their motion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and take a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Key.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And I am also an aye, and that motion passes. We now have our 2020 schedule and our 2021 schedule. So with that, our meeting is adjourned. And for our retreat, it is happening during lunchtime and from 12 to 3 p.m. So I would encourage all of us to, bring our brown bag lunches to us if you feel comfortable to do so, because we don't want anyone getting cranky because they're hungry. I will probably be eating, so I encourage you all to do the same. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for being at our meeting today.
And everyone.
Good evening.
Good night.